Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayo. Thank you for stopping by again, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this really stylish and trendy kimono jacket with keyhole details. And without further ado, let's get started. And for this tutorial guys, we're going to be making use of this Ankara print, and here I have about 1.5 yards. And for the front part of this kimono jacket, I have two options. Either I go with this tulle material, a net material, or I go with the chiffon material. But because of the lightness of the net material, I decided to go with the chiffon material. So we are going to be making use of the chiffon for the front piece, and we are going to be using the Ankara print for the back piece. So another thing that you need for this tutorial is a bias tape. Okay, so here I have bias tape that complements the Ankara print. I have yellow, orange, purple, and also green. Okay, so you are going to get bias strip or bias tape that complements the African print that you are using. And another thing you might want to get is a round object like this. Alright guys, so here I have my fabric folded into two, and right here is the center back. We are going to be drafting the back before the front, and right here I have about 20 inches on fold. Alright, all you need to do to know what to fold is to get the biggest part of your body divided by 4, and you're going to add about 8 inches to that, or even 5 inches. Alright, and the next thing that I'm going to do now is to start drafting the body measurement. And the first thing I'll do here is to go ahead and mark the start line. And the next thing to do is to determine the length of your jacket. And right here I'll use 39, and this is inclusive of the folding allowance. And I'll just go ahead and cut off the excess. And up next I'll come here to the start line, and I'll mark the shoulder measurement of 7.5 inches. And right from the shoulder measurement I'll go ahead and add 10 inches to that. And for the neckline, I'll come to this place, and for the width, I'm going to be using 3 inches, and for the depth, I'm going to be using 1.5 inches. And after creating the neckline, I'll come to this part and I'll come down by 1 inch in order to create our shoulder slant. So I'm going to link this place up to the neckline area here. And right now, the next thing to do is to come to this shoulder slope here, and we are going to come down by 10 inches in order to create our sleeve opening. And the next thing to do is to connect from the shoulder down to the sleeve opening like so. And right here across the sleeve opening, I'm just going to go ahead and input 1/4 of my bust circumference, and I'm going to add 4 inches to that. You can go ahead and add 5 inches. All right, and right here I will link the sleeve to the bust that we just marked. And the next thing to do is to mark what we have here, and whatever you have there is what you are going to measure all the way down. Here I have 14 inches, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark 14 inches all the way to the hem of the jacket. And right here I'll just go ahead and create a curve around this part. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut out the pattern. Right here guys, this is our back pattern, and we are going to use this back pattern to cut out the front pattern. So just go ahead and fold the chiffon material into two like so, and you're going to place the back pattern on it and retrace what we have on the back pattern on the front pattern. And right here on the neckline, I'll just cut it out straight without the neckline. Okay, and here I'll just use the chalk to indicate the neckline width. And for the depth, I'll come down by 8 inches, and I will link it up. And right now I'll go ahead and cut out the neckline, and I'll also open up the folded parts. And right now this is what the front piece looks like. And right now guys, the next thing to do is to go ahead and align the front and the back together, right side facing right side, and we're going to join the shoulder and also join the sides. I'm also going to go ahead and fold the sleeve. And that's exactly what I've done here. I've gone ahead to join the shoulder. I also went ahead to fold the sleeve and also join the sides. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and measure what we have all around like so, and we're going to use that to cut out a collar. And right here I've gone ahead to cut out a collar, and I folded it with half an inch on both sides. This collar is 5 inches wide, okay? And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and attach the collar to this jacket. And because we are going to be attaching a collar to this kimono, you can go ahead and cut out 2 inches from the front piece, but this is actually optional because in this tutorial I'm not going to be cutting it out, but you can go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to go ahead now and attach the collar to the dress. And right here guys, I've gone ahead to attach the collar to the jacket, and this is what it's looking like at this moment. And the next thing to do guys is to go ahead and create the keyhole design. And to do this, I have these 2 round objects, and I'm just going to go with the smaller one. So right here, this is the hem of the jacket, and I'm going to flip it to the wrong side. So here I will high mark the center, then I'll place my tape rule at the center. Then I'll come up by 2.5 inches. And right on that 2.5 inches, I'm going to place my round object, and I'm going to use my chalk to trace it out on the material. And right there we have our first circle, and for the second circle I'll just come up here and I'll come in 2 inches from the collar, okay, 2 inches from the collar. Then I'll try to create a circle around that part also. And right here we have our second circle. Then I'll move away from this circle by about 3 inches, okay? Then I'll create the third circle. And the distance between the circles is actually 3 inches, okay? So I'll place it correctly, then mark out the circle. And for the last one, I'll place my cap here, and I'll go ahead and draw out the circle. And right here, I'm just confirming that I have about 3 inches distance between them, and that's exactly what I have there. So we are going to repeat the same process to the other side also. And guys, the next thing to do is to go ahead and sew the bias on the circle, all right? And we are going to be stitching on the wrong side of the jacket, okay? And right now, I'm going to place my bias here on the circle, and I'm going to leave half an inch, all right? Leave half an inch on the bias before stitching, okay? And from that half an inch that we left, we are going to start stitching all the way around the circle, all right? I'm going to take it to the sewing machine now, and I'll show you what to do next. So here guys, I've gone ahead to stitch the bias all the way around the circle, all right? And I'll just cut away the excesses out of this bias, leaving half an inch, okay? So the next thing we are going to do is to open the side of the bias like so, and we are going to stitch it, okay? I'm going to pin it now, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and we are going to stitch it, all right? And after stitching it, we are going to complete the circle. And after doing that, this is what the circle looks like right now, okay? So the next thing to do is to make a hole, and we are going to cut through the inner circle. So in order to see what I'm cutting, I'm going to flip it to the right side, and this is what it looks like on the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out in a circular way. And the next thing to do is to flip the other side of the bias. We are going to flip it towards the right side of the jacket, okay? You're going to pin it, and we are going to top stitch on it. And that's exactly what I have done here. As you can see, I've gone ahead to top stitch on the bias, and this is what the wrong side looks like. So guys, one thing I'd like to suggest when you're stitching this part is to iron paper stay around that circled area before stitching it, because this material we are using is actually chiffon. It is not stable, it is lightweight. So in order to give it some kind of stability, it's advisable to iron paper stay on the circled part. Though I didn't do it in this tutorial, but I feel that it will give you some stability, okay? Alright guys, so the next thing I'll do is to place the other bias on the circle, and I'll follow the same process as the first one. And here guys, that's exactly what I have done. I've gone ahead to stitch the bias on the circle, and I repeated the same process to the other side of the jacket. And like I said earlier, you can add side slits to the jacket if you want, though I will not be doing that in this tutorial today, okay? And this will be the end of our tutorial. Do well to give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. And this is what the jacket looks like on the mannequin.